Penn's complete bio is too long for me to mention in the short time I have. An Emmy Award winner, he's appeared on Howard Stern, Piers Morgan, Glenn Beck, Dancing with the Stars, very diverse, David Letterman, Oprah, and the very popular Penn and Teller Bullshit. And I thought saying Oprah and then bullshit after that might be appropriate. His book, Every Day is an Atheist Holiday, which was on the New York Times bestseller list for 6 weeks, is now in paperback, and we just happen to have copies here that he will be happy to sign after his talk. Penn is a really busy guy, but he's been extremely generous with CFI Canada. We really appreciate that, and now I would like to introduce you to a very good guy who is about to play a very bad guy in the movie Director's Cut, Penn Jillette.
One of the things that we end up doing when we're defending atheism is we end up talking about morality. We end up talking about how can someone be moral without God? How can someone be moral without a supreme being looking over them for reward and punishment? They're always talking about that morality, and can we have it without God? And my favorite question, and when I talk to religious groups, I get this all the time, and I wait for it because I have an answer. Some of the other ones I kind of try to avoid. It's very important. You'll notice this later. I want to give you also a little bit of an insight into show business. When we go to the Q&A period in about a half an hour or so, you'll notice that I always answer the question I want to answer and not the question that's asked. The most important thing you can learn in public speaking. But they will stand up and they will ask, if there is no God, what stops you from raping and killing everyone you want to rape and kill? What stops you from doing that? And my answer is always, you're absolutely right. I have raped and killed every single person I want to rape and kill. And that number is 0, you evil motherfucker! It's 0! It's a goose egg! And if your number is a positive integer, sign up for prison! Get the fuck out of our society! Because morality is more important than God. And we know that because you stupid motherfuckers say the sentence, God is good. And if morality is not more important than God, you don't get to say that. It doesn't mean anything. Unless there's some good that we believe in, some morality, then you can't say God is good. Then you just say God, whatever he does is okay. And according to the Bible, it kind of is. He does everything bad.
When I first started doing bullshit, we pitched it 2 weeks after 9/11. After 9/11, we were told that we were supposed to go back to life as normal. And what I was supposed to do, so that the terrorists would not win, was I was supposed to go and pitch a skeptical atheist TV show. And I went around and I did it. And it was very hard to do because in my heart, I felt that it was exactly the right time for an atheist and skeptic television show because we had seen horribly, unforgettably, heartbreakingly what faith can do. I think Richard Dawkins was the first person I heard refer to 9/11 as a faith-based initiative. And it certainly was. And but there I was. It was exactly right to do that, but it felt exactly wrong. And for the people we were pitching to, it seemed very, very wrong. But we went in and we pitched a show that would be skeptical. And part of my pitch was I made a prediction. I said I have no psychic powers whatsoever. There are no such thing as psychic powers, but I'm going to make a prediction about the future. And I'm going to predict that John Edward is going to announce within the next 6 months that he will do a TV show where he will communicate with the people who died on 9/11. And I said, when he does that, you people, and I meant the people in the room, I did this little pitch several times, you people are going to be disgusted, and you people are going to be sad, because you people have helped him have a TV show, and you people have helped sell him to the American people. But Teller and I are going to feel okay, because at least we tried to get our fucking skeptical show on TV. And everybody thought that what I was saying was in phenomenally bad taste, and everybody thought I was wrong. And then 3 months later, you may not remember this, it wasn't very important or very big in the news, but John Edward did announce he was doing a TV special where he would communicate with the dead of 9/11. And to stick up for the people in this wonderful country, they were so appalled and thought he was such a fuckwad for doing that he immediately stopped it, and the show never went on. But it did have the effect of the people that heard about me talking about bullshit. Some of them at Showtime realized that maybe there should be a skeptical show on TV, and Showtime had us do 8 years of that, and about whatever it was, 87, 88 shows, I forgot which. Well, I guess it was 87 shows, and then 88 shows if you count the Vatican episode that Showtime showed and then pretended they didn't.
And another point that is really, Christopher Hitchens makes this point in God Is Not Great. He doesn't make it quite this impolitely, but you don't have to be smart to be an atheist. And that's what I've been trying to prove. You don't have to be as smart as these two to say, I don't know. And I think having people up there that are out of the sciences, but love what comes from the sciences, and also are able to say, I don't know and won't follow these rules, and have that kind of self-possession, is a very important point to make. And I know I said that in a way that was a little bit funny, but there's no joke intended. You don't need to be Wile E. Coyote super genius to realize that these fairy tales are not true. I didn't desperately want to be in show business. I desperately wanted to be a writer. And what I cared about, my overwhelming passion, was atheism, and out of that came skepticism. So what we were really seeing, I mean, Teller really did love magic. I don't think I had even the slightest bit of affection for magic when I met you. Not much. I mean, the only interest I have in magic is the stuff that Teller told me was good about magic. The idea that magic could be an intellectual art form because it has built-in irony. I'm just parroting things that Teller said to me, but that you had the intellectual engagement of what's real. And the nutty thing is, you can't understand what a radical, insanely profound thing that was to say when Teller said it to me, because this was the time of Doug Henning and David Copperfield and these people that came out and said, what we're doing here in magic is this. I had a dream last night, and this is what I felt. And they would have, their dreams always involved mutilating women. With fluffy clouds and tie-dye and woo! And Teller pointed out that the idea of magic is the fact that there's trickery there. You're not trying to tell, maybe I should let Teller just do this, but Teller talks about the unwilling suspension of disbelief. When you watch Shakespeare writes, here we are in this scene, or as Johnny Thompson says, here we are in Spain. And you believe that the actor you play along with it. But magic you don't play along with. You're supposed to watch magic with a chip on your shoulder. So automatically, you're dealing with, as Teller said, the difference between reality and falsehood, and you're dealing with that particular idea. So even the stupidest magic trick, you know, the suckiest mentalism, automatically has some sort of political and moral component, because you are dealing with what is truth, which is precisely what Teller was saying. And what is truth is a really profound thing. And magicians just piss that away. Once you say to people, just come with me on this journey, here's a dream that I had, let's just make believe, then you don't need to be doing magic. There's no reason to. It's only the unwilling suspension of disbelief that's fascinating. And Teller telling me that magic was essentially intellectual, not the lowest form of art, but rather a rather high up form of art, got me interested. When I was, the magic that I watched on TV, you know what I've said a zillion times, a greasy guy in a tux with a lot of birds torturing women to bad rip-off white boy, small dick Motown music was just repulsive to me. I mean, when I would watch Ed Sullivan, when The Magician came on, I was just waiting to see The Who. You know, I didn't care about the magicians. I was looking at the rock and roll bands in between. And Teller got that idea that you could say the word trick and celebrate the word trick and get rid of words like effect and illusion.
The subtitle of it is Signs You May Already Be an Atheist and Other Magical Tales. And it opens with the only thing I'm going to read to you from this. I'm just going to take questions because you're people I want to talk to. Otherwise, I would just read from the book. But I'm going to read just the first page, because it kind of sums up what I mean by signs you may already be an atheist. I don't know why I'm reading this. I know it off the top of my head because I wrote it. You may already be an atheist. If God, however you perceive him, her, it, told you to kill your child, told you however God communicates with you to kill your child, would you do it? If your answer is no, in my booklet, you're an atheist. There is doubt in your mind. Love and morality are more important to you than your faith. If your answer is yes, please reconsider. And one of the things I hit upon in this book a lot is that even people who claim, I guess I'll quote one of my closest friends, Rob Pike, who is a scientist here at Google, not here on this particular campus, but maybe on one of those. And Rob Pike once said to me that he was so much of an atheist, he didn't really believe that other people believed in God. And he did not say that as a joke. And there's another book out by Andy Thompson called Why We Believe in God. And then there's a parentheses and an S afterwards. Why We Believe in God. One of the points he makes is the point that I think is very important about the Abraham example in the front of the book, which is people who believe in God live their lives as though there was no God. They live their life with no consideration for divine intervention and no consideration that God's going to help them. There's a cliche, which is not true, that there are no atheists in foxholes, and I would argue that there's nothing but atheists in foxholes. If you really believe that God was watching over your every move, if you really believe there was an omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent being that watched every sparrow fall and counted every grain of sand, then why wouldn't you walk through the battlefield going, "Heidi, Heidi, ho, I'm over here," and know that God would make the bullets go right around you the way they did in Pulp Fiction? If God can save John Travolta, he can sure as fuck save you, right? Every time you stop at a stop sign, you are saying, well, you know, I'm not sure God is going to pick the exact time of my death, so I better look both ways before I go through here. And I just think there are a lot of people who just say they believe in God kind of as a knee-jerk reaction to a society that kind of says that's a good thing. And I was writing this book to kind of say that maybe they could reconsider. Atheists are growing very, very quickly in this country, but not quickly enough for my taste. And there are a lot of books written about atheism by really smart people. You've got Dawkins, Hitchens, Dennett, Jan Hirsi Ali, and this, as I said, is a book written by a really stupid atheist. just to give you an idea that not only smart people, but stupid people as well can be atheists.
Or bullshit. And I thought saying Oprah and then bullshit after that might be appropriate. His book, Every Day is an Atheist Holiday, which was on the New York Times bestseller list for 6 weeks, is now in paperback. Penn's complete bio is too long for me to mention in the short time I have. An Emmy Award winner, he's appeared on Howard Stern, Piers Morgan, Glenn Beck, Dancing with the Stars, very diverse, David Letterman, Oprah, and the very popular Penn and Jillette.
One of the things that we end up doing when we're defending atheism is we end up talking about morality. We end up talking about how can someone be moral without God? How can someone be moral without a supreme being looking over them?
Okay. Penn Jillette. And we just happen to have copies here that he will be happy to sign after his talk. Penn is a really busy guy, but he's been extremely generous with CFI Canada. We really appreciate that. And now I would like to introduce you to a very good guy who is about to play a very bad guy in the movie Director's